track vehicles, you know, that we used to track vehicles all across the globe, not just in America, but in other countries. We have some countries like in like Cameroon, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Gambia, that we track the vehicles because we have like 19 satellites. So the journey just continues. We keep investing in things that make sense for us.
So beautiful to hear. But I would want to know, I would like to ask, at any point in time prior to the time you met and it's very interesting when I heard you say that you used to be a waiter. So prior to when you met the person who gave you the business card, what were your vision? What did you want to be? What was your dream? Did it have anything to do with the financial field, or it was just as a result of meeting that person?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I left Nigeria when I was 18 years old. I moved to Canada. And while I was living in Canada, just like everything else in life, man, I know when I decided to leave Nigeria, I remember saying to myself when I was in high school, I said, man, I want to be a millionaire when I was 24 years old, and that was my prayer to God. And I'm sure God heard the prayer, but he was just probably laughing at me and say, what you gonna do with $1 million at 24 years old? So,
Yeah.
but I left Nigeria at 18, moved to Canada, kind of lived there for a while, and then an opportunity showed up for me to come to America. So I sneaked across the border. I came into the United States and slept in my car for a couple until I figured myself out. And then somebody gave me a card. So I really didn't, I knew I wanted to do something, but I didn't know what it was, though, where my fate was going to lead me. And then somebody gave me the card and I went for an interview. I'm like, you know what, this is it. I'm going to just do this, especially when you only have a high school diploma from Nigeria, a diploma that is not recognized
Yeah, it
abroad.
doesn't carry much weight.
Exactly. So you have no choice in the kind of career you want to go into, because unless you go back to school to get the career that could give you a better life. But so I didn't have multi-plethora of choices of what I'm going to do. And the people I knew around me back in the day in Canada, a lot of the folks that I knew, that lived in Canada, especially all the older guys, because most of my friends were older than me, they were doing all kinds of shady stuff, So, and I know I didn't have the heart. I mean, I know I definitely cannot go to prison, because at the end of the day, especially American prison is a little bit different, you know. There's so much. So I know I wouldn't last long in there, especially when you're good looking, you're a young boy. You ain't gonna last long in there.
Yeah.
So that
Wow.
scared me away
Beautiful to hear.
to do all that. So I had to find a way to come to America and find my way here. And I knew this was an opportunity if you apply yourself. And as I saw the people using their mouth to go make money, meaning sales. I mean, all of us are salespeople. So this was the best opportunity for me, because they didn't ask me for, if I had college degree or any of those things. I
Yeah.
take a test and pass it, and then that was it. So that was the journey. And basically God basically gave me an opportunity, and I just stayed the rope. I didn't distract myself. I didn't jump into different things. It wasn't easy, of course it's not, but I stayed true to the vision, because all I needed to see was one person that was successful in that business, and that was it.
Okay, great. So this brings us to my second question. So we would like to know what the two toughest business decision has been for you so far in your journey.
The two what? Sorry, say that
Two
again.
first decisions, business decisions in the course of your journey.
Well, man, I'll see, because I guess when you get to a certain level of success, right, you tend to, you know, I don't dwell a lot in the past, so I stayed in one business throughout. So I'll say the toughest thing for any business even is staying focused. staying focused in what you're doing and not looking at what other people are doing and saying, man, he's making money over here, let me jump into that, because that temptation comes in sometimes. Instead of you focusing 100% on what you're doing to grow it and scale it. So I guess the toughest part will be staying focused in what you're doing, because a lot of times there's a lot of distractions that come. There's so many people that want you to, come try this business. And then the more money you make, the more folks start hitting you up for opportunity. And money is like water. Money likes to move around. So if you're not careful, you start jumping into businesses that you're not supposed to be involved in, and then you end up losing money. So you gotta watch your money worth. Does that help? I think you're muted out. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now we can hear you. Yes.
Okay, yes, there was a little issue with the connection.
No problem.
Okay, so based on what you said so far, I just wanted to I would like to just point out some things from what you've said. It's amazing how you took up yourself, picked up yourself, and you traveled. At that point, you weren't afraid, there was no fear, nothing.
To leave Nigeria by myself? No, I
Yeah.
mean,
And you also said that you went across the border, you went to Canada, then you went to America, and you were on your own, you were by yourself until you were able to figure all of everything together. So at that point, was there fear? Were you scared? What was the God factor that was pushing you at that point?
I mean, yes, you're always scared, but you just keep moving until, at the end of the day, fear is just, we all have fear. Even like when I even go speak, or when people ask me to come be a what they call a keynote speaker or different things. That nervousness, the fear comes in, of course, but it's how you deal with it. I mean, it's either you go forward. I mean, what other choice did I have? I definitely knew I wasn't trying to stay in Nigeria. I'm the youngest of four, and I saw all my brothers and my sisters, saw them go to the colleges, and the school will go on strike, and I knew I wasn't going to pass jam. I mean, I definitely didn't pass that. I'm like, I gotta get out of this country, man, figure it out somewhere. So that's why. So the fear wasn't a big factor. Yes, it was there, but you just
You were
focus.
able to push through the fear and make a decision.
Moving forward, you don't move, you don't go backwards, you move forward. Just like when you're driving a car, you keep looking forward. Yeah, you could look behind, but doesn't mean you're gonna start going back. You keep going forward, no matter what's going on in front of you.
Okay, so I would like to find out the 5 lessons your business has taught you so far being a CEO, because I know you must have a wealth of experience. So these lessons, what are the 5 most significant lessons that you've learned? And what are your 5 most significant mistakes that you've made in the course of your journey in business?
Well, every business is different, so 5 lessons I'll say I've learned is, one, making sure you have the right mentors, and not be scared to invest in mentorship, because one thing I know, so many people they want to spend money, especially when it comes to them educating themselves. So what I do is I treat it as if every time I meet someone that I know I could learn from, instead of looking for them to give it to me for free, I find a way to empower them by doing business with them in a way, even if it's not to support their business, or I tap into something that's going to get them to get I could get their attention. In that way, I'm able to learn from whatever it is that they're doing. So never be scared to invest in your business, or in your knowledge, because there's no such thing as wasted knowledge. if you apply it and you take the knowledge to the next level. So, invest in the tools of your business, whatever it is that's going to help you grow your business, invest in it. And then, making sure you don't take advantage of folks around you, because sometimes business folks, um they if you're in business, for example, I sent a text message to someone today. She's an attorney, she works for a company, but I wanted to hire her to do some work for me, and I know she wants to start her own business. So I had to send her a text that let me read the text, because my thing is this: I'm very, very, I don't play around when it comes to business, and especially when somebody comes to me and say, you know can we do business? So I just sent them a message. I said, hey, I'm very disappointed. If you're not interested in working, then let me know so I stop wasting my time. Because I'm giving you money, I'm spending money with you. You're an attorney, because I needed to focus. I want to help her. She's a contract attorney, and I need a contract attorney for some of the things that I do. Not that I don't have a whole lot, but I say, okay, this one, she's a Nigerian. I'm going to support her business and help her. Because she said, I want to be, because people see you and, oh, man, I want to be successful. I want to be like you, but they don't understand the journey that
Yeah, true.
that you understand the stuff you have to do. So the most important thing that I believe every business person is, when your yes should be your yes, your no should be your no, and
Integrity.
yes, that's key. And you got to be ready to stay when your clients call you. You answer the phone. People, I mean, my phone is very, very ready to speak to people. I mean, when the gentleman hit me up on Instagram, I responded back to him, because it's not that I'm not busy. I'm very busy, but if you have a scheduler, you could talk to folks that you want to talk to. Now, if they're saying stuff that doesn't make any sense, then I delete and block. Remember that music? Delete and block. I do that very well, quickly. So I don't let nothing stop me from moving forward. But I give people a chance to prove themselves, and then I move on.
Okay, so can you share the mistakes, 5 mistakes you made in business?
That's a great question. Yeah, mistake is, doing business with the wrong people, just not vetting people correctly. And because again, you gotta be very, very careful who you get in business with. And business relationship is so fun. It's very, very important. So remember, it's a business relationship. So you got to be careful who you do business with. So I've been blessed to have some great people with, I have like 11 companies I'm a part owner of, in some form or another. I get paid off of a lot of things that they do. But the key is finding partners that allow you, that I trust. I don't have to second guess what they're doing. Now, if I run into someone, I'll say this: there's some businesses that I've jumped into that I didn't make any money, or it was just the relationship didn't work out. So I'm willing to walk away from it. So, but I don't dwell on the mistakes, in the sense that every I call it, any mistake you make, any disappointment is an opportunity for you to learn, from it. It's just like I have this. There's two ways you could learn. There's personal experience, and then there's other people's experience. Now, personal experience is the hardest way to learn, because you are personally experiencing it yourself. So you're going to go through that pain, because when that happens. But learning from other people's experience is the best way to learn, because in that way you get to see the mistakes others have made, and then you don't make that mistake. So I like learning from other people's experience, but once in a while I get jacked, and I learn my own, based on an experience that happens to me personally. So, but I call it it's what it is. I call it, it's an investment to get somebody away from you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. So we are getting quite close to the end of this session, but before we get to the the last part, which would be the question and answer from the audience. I would like to ask you to please give business advice for aspiring business owners, people that would want to come into your field, and people that are just generally in other levels of business. So, what's your business advice?
Yeah, so the advice I'll give you is, don't be cheap with the
Mm,
tool of your business.
mm,
And when it comes to learning, find ways to continue to learn and scale. Nobody's your competition except you.
yeah.
If you and don't have a scarcity mindset,
Mm,
have an abundance mindset,
yeah.
because when you have a scarcity mindset, because you believe, oh man, I don't want to share this information with this person because they could steal my business, then you're not going to ever grow. Or you don't want to share anything. You just want to keep everything to yourself. You don't want to support nobody else except you. And you're constantly begging people to help you, but you never actually helped anyone. So don't have that type of mindset. But at the
Oh,
same time, be a student of the business, whatever business you're going to do. And don't just get into business just because you heard somebody is making money in that business. Get into a business that you enjoy, you love, that gives you joy. Because I tell you this, I work with a lot of business owners, not just here in America, but all across the country, in different countries as well. I have clients in different places, and I get, because I coach them, and they have the same issue, right? So the key is, you got to do a business that makes sense for you,
yeah.
not for the money. If you're not doing it and you're not finding joy in it, then eventually you're going to quit. It's going to be stressful. You're going to get burnt out, and eventually you're out. So you got to find something that you love, that gives you joy, and then at the end of the day, man, the rewards are greater. So what I do, I love what I do. I love financial services. I love working with families, helping them scale, helping them protect their assets. I love helping them, build their wealth the way they, based on what their goals are. I get excited about it. I help them doing that. So that's something that I enjoy. But now, other businesses that I'm a part of, like real estate and technology and the other, do I love it? No, I don't love it, but that's why other people are running it. I'm not involved 100%, other than meeting and giving my input and sharing ideas. And then I let them run it because they love it. So I'm a partner with them, and then we work together. I stay in my lane. I focus on what I focus on. If I'm this, like some of them, I'm the CFO for most of them. So I just stay my lane on the financial side and let the person do what he's supposed to do, and let them, and we continue to scale together. Hope that answers your question. I think your phone is frozen. But while we're doing that, while you're frozen, I see some questions on here though. Okay, you back.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir. We are getting good value from what you're sharing. But I think some questions are coming in. Let's take the questions from the audience. Um,
I see one with Uloma. She asks, have you ever been in
so
that
someone
place
asked, have
where,
you ever been in a place
Yeah.
where you wanted to give up, or you felt you were wasting your time? What did you do to stay inspired? If you were to do any other business aside what you are doing right now, what would that be?
all right, good. That's a great question. So first, I mean, have I ever been in a place where I wanted to, give up? Of course, a lot, so many times. Every day I want to give up and walk away, especially when you're trying to grow. I remember when I first got started, because I'm in sales, so selling financial product. I remember calling someone, driving 3 hours to an appointment, and they went home after I got there. Imagine driving 3 hours. That right there will make you want to quit, right?
Yeah,
Immediately.
sure.
But I'm like, okay, there's two ways to use this. Either one, I drive 3 hours back to my city, or I go knock on doors on every door, every house in this neighborhood I'm in. I said, well, I don't have nothing to lose.
Wow.
Let me knock on the doors. And I started knocking on doors, and boom, I end up writing more business that day than I did in a whole month, all by going and knocking
Wow.
on the door. Somebody else would have switched and just drive home and quit. You know,
Sure.
I've always, so it's all about your mindset. And one thing is, there's no easy money anywhere. You know,
Yeah.
there's no easy business. Doesn't matter what business you're doing, there's going to always be ups and downs. Success journey is not like, oh yeah, it's straight and narrow road. No, don't work that way. You got to go through the bumps. You're going to go through those situations until you figure it out, until you start seeing that, okay, now that you've seen what's happening, now you know what to do, especially if you're making money. See, there's because if you start a business today and all of a sudden, boom, you start being successful and making money, guess what happens? Because you don't understand how to deal with the money or manage it, you're going to lose it all. But all that journey that we're taking during the headaches and the stress and all the stuff, that's building you up to be able to know how to manage your money when that money starts coming in, you
Yeah.
know, that business. So that's the way I feel about that question.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you this question. If you're given another chance to do this again, would you want to do it again?
Yeah, of course. Because I mean, I don't know anything else I can do. I know the lady asked about, what other business would I do if I don't know, I haven't looked at anything. Because if I guess because of the way I came up, right? One,
Hmm.
Nigeria at age 18 with no college degree or nothing, and just high school from Ikeja, and coming to a country, would I have done what else would I have done in my mind? Other than sales, I'll go into, if I do it again, it got to be any business that has to do with sales is what I'm going to get into. Where I'm able to kill what I eat, right? Where I'm not depending on anyone to pay me. So whatever I kill, I'm going to eat it, right? So that's what sales is all about. It's sales, if whatever it is you're doing, if it has to involve to really scale and get yourself to the top level of wherever it is,
Yeah.
to be in sales.
Okay. So we're gonna take questions from the audience now. So please, if you have questions, can you send your questions in the comment section? So we take the questions now. But before we do that, so I'm waiting for your questions to come in. We're going to just take let me see how much time we have left. We're going to take about 3 or 4 questions. But before we do that, Mr. Douglas, I would like to find out what is the God factor in all of this? So when you sit down, ca- will you say God helped me? How did God come through for you? What did God do for you? What is the God factor in all of your business?
Yeah, I mean, well, first, God is not coming down from heaven to do anything for you. You know,
Yeah.
all He's gonna do is make sure that you're ready to whatever it is that He's blessing you with, that you're able to use it to continue to take care of His children, right? That's the whole purpose. So, for example, right, a lot of folks, they spend all day, every day in a church praying and worshiping and crying to
Sure.
God, please help me do this. I'm suffering. And did a quick first people that will send you prayer and all that. Sounds good. But God is not sitting there waiting for you to keep asking Him for the same thing every day. So what God wants you to do when you ask Him for stuff, which is what I do, when I ask Him for something, I leave it alone. I don't go back asking again the next day, next day, next day. then I start doing what I need to do so that, and I believe that he's working on whatever it is that I've asked him for. And I stay in my lane and I continue moving forward because he says, why are you worrying about what you're going to eat tomorrow? Just focus on what you
Yeah.
do today. So I just let him, I put it out, because whatever you say out is what's going to happen if you believe it. Now, if you don't believe it, then it's not going to happen. So, and then you got to be also very, very mindful because sometimes, folks will do, will put out negative energy. And when you put out negative energy, then what happens is everything around you will be focused on that negative stuff. And then that's what you're going to receive. So always plant positive seeds so you could harvest positive harvest, because I always know and I pay attention to the way I think. So if I think negative, I try to replace it immediately with a positive thought, or else things are going to shift the wrong way. So just let God handle whatever it is you tell him to handle. Like, when I want to buy stuff, I put it out to God. I say, okay, make it happen. And I let him do what he needs to do. And it happens exactly the way I wanted it.
So it's a simple clear case of faith
Exactly.
without works is dead. So you do what you can do and you let God do what you can't do.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to take questions from the audience now. Someone said, what advice would you give to a young entrepreneur on how to build their profile so that their value can be seen? You said somewhere don't be cheap. So how do someone build value enough to be seen?
Well, today's world is social media, right? A lot of social media. If people don't know you, they won't flow you.
Yeah,
They
true.
need to know who you are. So, if you go on all my social media platform, on IG, I'm Douglas Eze. YouTube, I'm on there, Douglas Eze. Check it out. And you see all the content that I put out, free content, and let people absorb it. I don't have to worry about other financial advisors in my field stealing my content. Doesn't matter. I don't care
Yeah.
because my client is always going to be my client. So because I put out so much value out in the public place, I get so much business from people saying, man, if he's giving me all this free knowledge, man, what will happen when I have a one-on-one session with him? How much more knowledge am I going to tap in? And then they book sessions with me, and then we sit down and we go over stuff, and I get paid even more. So give out. The only way you're going to create that value is the amount of work you do, and are you accessible? Some people, once they make some little money, they think they're King Kong, and they don't. They're no longer accessible. It's like you have to go to the
Yeah.
secretary to get in touch.
Mm.
All those things. I mean, you got to be able to reach back down and pull somebody up different ways. Now, of course, we're not
Yeah.
going to be giving away money to people. No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about making sure, because you never know who you're going to inspire, just by sharing with them. Like, I didn't have to be on here. If I could have said, oh man, I'm not interested, right? Or whatever. As soon as he asked me, I commit first and figure it out later. When he sent me the message, I said, sure, I'll be on, no problem. Because at the end of the day, my job, like I said earlier, is this. The only person I'm doing stuff for is for God to continue to bless me. That's why I want to say thank you. When he tells me thank you, he opens or puts more money in my pocket when he says thank you.
Yeah.
So I'm a big believer of that.
Okay. Thank you. So basically, um,
I know her phone went out. All right, somebody's asking. I think. Okay, your phone is muted out. We can't hear you. You're muted.
okay. So now the question has been answered. You said one of the best ways to do that is social media. So, Mr. Mike Ukpong, to get your value seen is social media. So he has answered and he has asked you to put yourself out there. So you're not bothered about competition or anything, or whatever any other person is doing. Reach out to your audience, stay accessible, give value, and your value will be seen. Okay, so we go on to the next question. Someone said, how can I start building a solid financial plan for myself?
Yeah, so one, you got to make sure you find places that you might be throwing money away unknowingly and unnecessarily. So,
Mm,
for example, right, money is like water. It doesn't like sitting around and doing nothing. And I know, like I was coaching one of my students that's from Nigeria, and they were asking almost the same question. So what we had to do was, first of all, talk about how to make sure that you pay yourself first, right? Pay yourself first. And when we say that word, pay yourself first, most people find that difficult to do. But realize one thing you got to always realize is, you got to, the same way you pay everyone else, you got to make sure that you're putting aside some money for you. And then, for example, you know we know in Nigeria, a lot of people pay cash for a lot of things, right? You buy a house, you're paying cash. The question now is, are you replenishing that cash? For example, like when I pay cash for something, the first thing I'm going to do is I look at any bank in the area and see if I have gone to that bank to borrow money, to take a loan from them, and they approve the loan and give me the loan, and they told me how much to pay them back and what interest I will pay them on back. Then what I do is I take that knowledge and then I put that interest on myself, and then I start paying that money back to my future person. Because you always got
mm,
to remember, your future person is always waiting to figure out what is it that you're gonna do to make sure that the future is secure for him or her. So
yeah,
places you're throwing money away unknowingly because you don't know you're doing it, and unnecessarily you could fix it by plugging the holes in your financial bucket
yeah,
and making sure that you don't get carried away just because you're making money. You got to save money, save first, and invest later, right?
mm,
Meaning, when you save money, you're using the money to invest when the right opportunity presents itself. You don't just want to jump into any type of investment. You want to take your time before you jump into any type of investment. Then invest in your business. I mean, why not?
okay. So, Mr. Chibu, he has answered your question. Have be disciplined. That's one of the key things that I picked there. You be disciplined. Find a good looping in strategy. So for whatever you do, try as much as you can to reloop that money back in and reinvest it in yourself. Save and find credible investments to pour the money back in. Okay. So someone said something. Even though, yeah, I think along the line I heard that heard you say you took some certifications and some courses and all. But going with this question, she's asking, seeing that you have no college degree and going to a whole new country, what would be your advice to anyone looking to expand their business to Europe, America, or even Dubai? In essence, what steps would you advise they take in that regard? And let's assume they don't intend to travel. What steps do you advise they take to create an audience in these continents?
That's a great question. Yeah. So, I left Nigeria probably, I'll say, what, 30 years ago, right? And back then, the opportunity was to go to America. But, today, and there was no social media back then either. So today, the world is actually smaller. It's so small that you could be making money in Nigeria and receiving currency from other countries. I'm
Yeah.
actually doing a webinar this Sunday, and I'll give a list. I have an ebook that I put out. I'm actually talking about this same conversation, how to create what we call it, because people are asking me. So we have a topic that I'm going to be addressing, and it's called. I'll put a link for you. It's a free webinar. I'll be able to go into a little bit more about that conversation on in there, so you'll be able to know exactly what to be doing in these parts of the world where you could make money from Nigeria while you're in Nigeria. You could make money in Dubai. You could make money in different places. And the course is actually called the Zoom. It's creating multi-currency generational wealth. How to earn in the world's best currencies, regardless of what country you reside. You know, I'm going to be talking into it and going into a bunch of information. So actually, you know what? I'll post the link for you. You can register for
Thank
that.
you, guys. Please, the link. Make sure you guys copy it down.
So I just
Copy
posted
and
the link.
save. Yeah, this is being recorded, so I'm sure everybody's gonna have access to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so make sure you earn in the best currencies of the world, no matter where you are.
Right.
Okay, so
Exactly.
the last question here, the last question will be, what's your take on collaboration? So rephrasing the question, I'll say, what's your take on joint ventures, collaborations? What do you think about it as a business person?
That's a great idea. I mean, you know, but again, remember, don't just jump into bed with anyone, because there's a lot
Yeah,
of shady, crooked people out there. Somebody's always interested in stealing. So watch people's character. You know, watch how they react, how they deal with other people. You know, one of my business partner, he was telling me, you know, he started a trucking business here in America with two partners, two people that he's known for a long time, that they've been doing stuff together. And one thing, we actually did a podcast, because this is like my podcast room actually. So we were talking about it. And he said, you know, one thing that he realized after he got ripped off by these guys and they just took the company away from him, he's like, you know,
wow.
he realized that the same, he's seen the what they do, but you just ignore it because you're like, they're not doing it to you, right? But you got to pay attention to that, because when they do it to you, you'll be like, man, I should have known this, because people will show you who they are. So if you're patient enough, you see that. So don't just jump and
Yeah,
collaborate with just anybody. Collaborate somebody that you align with their, you know, with their energy, and you see that they, you know, they have integrity. You see that they do business up and up. So you're not worried. Like, I don't have to worry about any of my business partners, you know, because I trust them, they trust me. I'm not second guessing what they're doing. Why? Because I know their character. I know they're not motivated all the time just because of money, and they're not going to cut corners just because of, oh, I need to make this amount of money. No,
yeah,
they cut corners right now, they're going to cut corners with you, and that could ruin
true.
your business.
Yeah. Okay. So this brings us to our final and last question. Mr. Phillips, yes, says, thank you so much for the great value shared already. I follow you on Instagram. Guys, please, everybody, we are following Mr. Douglas on Instagram today. We can't let him go just like that. You see, free knowledge. Go and tap in. Everybody follow and engage. Don't just follow and engage. Okay, so continuing, he says, so I'm excited to have you speak to us live. Now, my question, what's the place of business planning for business owners thinking of playing big on the international market starting from Nigeria?
So, I mean, you know, there's no such thing as just playing it big, other than, you know, first get big in where you're at, then, you know, then you start tapping out. You know, today there's so many people need to know you before they start getting you, you know, giving you audience. And I mean, for me today, people bring me out to speak. You know, I've spoken in Dubai, I've spoken in the UK, I've spoken in I've been to Gambia, spoke there. You know, but how is that? How are they able to get in touch with me or get me out? Well, you just never know um who it is that you're reaching, you
Yeah,
know. So once you start letting people know you by sharing content, you know, a lot of you have knowledge about a lot of things that other people don't know, you know, especially in your business. You know, I don't know what type of business most people have here, but you could share some information, let people know what it is that you do. The more people that know what you do, the easier it becomes for them to reach out to you when an opportunity
true.
comes. They're like, man, I need
Yeah,
to see this guy, you know. So they got to know you before they can flow you. And that's the only way you're going to get, big. For me, having an international business, like my technology business, how did I get tapped into where we have a global tech that we use to track vehicles for people that have transportation business? How did I get into that business? I don't know nothing about technology or tracking. Well, I went on a business trip. I was in Cameroon, and first I was at a business class lounge in Addis Ababa, and somebody introduced me to a guy that said, "Hey, I know a guy in Cameroon that developed a technology that you could use to track vehicles, even if there's no internet." And he made a connection. This dude drove 7 hours to meet with me because he's on the English side of Cameroon. I was on the French side. And he drove 7 hours from the English side to come meet with me and have breakfast with me that morning. And we sat down, we talked, and he showed me his technology. And I was able to size him up and understand where his mindset is. And at the end of the conversation, one thing he said, my technology is great, but I don't have any money. I don't know business. But if I dream it, I could build it. I mean, this dude has been featured on CNN, BBC, different places, but just didn't have the means to grow himself. He's a cybersecurity guy, has his company. And basically I said, "What would you like?" He said, "I don't mind us being partners," and he made the offer. He said 50-50. I said,
Wow.
"Yes."
Wow.
And we became business partners. So I had to rebrand the company, take it out of Cameroon, registered it in Mauritius, where the taxes are lower, and then took it from Mauritius. We have a US company that owns it. Now, when I met him, he had like satellites that could cover, because he could code to the satellite that covers 20% of Africa. Now we're in 99% of the world. We're able to cover
Wow.
anywhere in the
Wow.
world. The unique things about the technology is the fact that if your car gets stolen, you could send a text message to your car, and the car will text you back that I'm going 90 miles an hour right now. I'm going to start slowing the car down and shut it off. Nobody has that technology, where
Wow.
the car is moving. So that's gotten us so much opportunity. And we've never made one advertisement yet. So what we've been doing is
Are you in
basically,
Nigeria? Is that company in Nigeria?
no, actually, we're about to get in. We don't have, because again, I've had people reach out to me, but again, Nigeria people, they talk,
Yeah.
too much talk, So, but we're working with other countries, because my thing is, we're in Kenya, we're in South Africa, we're in Zimbabwe. We're working with one of the
That's so impressive.
there, and we're in Cameroon, just next door, because there's a lot of transportation business. Drivers lie a lot, so this is to protect the business owner that owns those
Yeah.
transportation business. So yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's that's a whole lot. God. Such an
But we're
interesting
open. We're
profile.
open
It's
to coming
been
to Nigeria. We're very open to doing business in Nigeria. We just need the right relationship. Of course,
yeah.
price tag on that, but it's all good if somebody is able to do it. I mean, we take care of everything other than because all
Mm,
tech. We work without internet, so we don't depend on MTN and all these other companies.
okay.
We have our own site. We have 19 satellites in the sky, so we have our own telecommunication company. So if there's no internet, our service still works and still moves.
Wow. So this has been like this session has been so interesting. One of the things that I picked out from what you just said was when you said the guy drove 7 hours to meet you to have breakfast, and when he came, you sized him up. So something just clicked in my head that no matter who you are, and no matter who you're doing business with, just know that the other person is sizing you up. So, which means you have to put your best foot forward at all times. You may not have the money, but if you put the best foot forward and you put yourself correctly, you can strike good deals. And I think that's what that guy just did for himself. And I'm sure he's very happy.
Oh yeah, he
50-50.
is
Good deal.
actually. The great news about it is now he's here in America with me, and him and his wife, they're here.
Wow.
He's getting his citizenship now. We're working on that.
Wow.
But
Wow. Wow.
but at the end of the day is, when you're going in business with people, it's a business relationship. It's a
Yeah.
relationship first, just like a marriage. Marriage is a
Gosh.
relationship, is a business relationship. You don't want to get in bed with the wrong person because it could ruin your business, ruin your marriage, whatever it is. You,
Yeah,
so
yeah, I
you
understand.
cannot. That's why when I teach and work with families, I let them know first you got to realize your family is a business. There's a CEO and the CFO. Now, if you're a single person, you're the CEO and the CFO of
Mm-hmm.
your family business.
A
So
family is a business.
yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're looking to get married, now two businesses are
Mm-mm.
coming together, two family business. If you think about MTN has income, a family has income. NTN has bills, they have expenses. Family has expenses.
Yeah.
So either you, the CEO, the other person is CFO, the children are the employees. That's how the
Wow.
wealth in America continue to scale their
This is
wealth.
another realm entirely. Interesting. Yeah. One person can't do everything. And
No,
that's what majority of us don't know. Yeah, true.
I mean, you got to hire people, and you got to be able to talk, and once you start putting out positive energy, you're gonna surround yourself with positive people, and you're gonna start seeing that the folks that you're attracting are feeding off of your positive energy because you're not negative. See, because if you're negative and you do shady stuff and you get away with little stuff that is affecting somebody else's business. For example, when you go, because most people have, what are the shady things they do? Well, little things like when you go borrow money from somebody, you say, hey, loan me money and I'm going to pay you back so day, and they trust you and they give it to you. Then when that time comes, you start hiding instead of going confronting and saying, listen,
Mm.
either I don't have the money or here's your money.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder
There's
why
no,
people do that though.
those things will affect you later down the line because at the end of the day,
There's
just
no integrity. You can't come back.
exactly.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mr. Douglas Eze. It's so inspiring. Your journey has been beautiful. And more so that you're Nigerian, it's so exciting. Yeah. The Nigerian doing big things. We're proud. We're proud. We're so happy you came to talk to us. And we look forward to having you once again speak to us, maybe on a larger scale. So for me, key points I took today: don't go to bed with the enemy. That's don't go to bed with the wrong business partner. Don't go to bed with the wrong business partner. Don't have a scarcity mindset. Have an abundance mindset. Because you said you met that guy at the business lounge of the airport. So imagine if you were you were somewhere else. Definitely your paths
I'll
wouldn't
tell you that
cross.
actually that guy that I met that introduced me to the young kid, it was a client. So I was in Ethiopia actually because I took Ethiopian Airlines. I was in Tanzania and I flew to Cameroon. So while I was at
Yeah.
Ethiopian Airlines business class lounge, I called one of my clients that's Ethiopian and I said, hey, I'm in your country, but I'm at the lounge. I'm just here, waiting for my flight. And she said, wow, okay. There's a billionaire that is in that lounge right now that I need you to
Wow.
know you. Now, why would she want to introduce me to a friend of hers
Because she
that's
trusts you.
billionaire?
She knows you.
Exactly. And she called him, sent him a message, and he said, okay. He started looking for me, and then we connected, and we started talking. And the
Wow.
guy is a billionaire. I mean, he owns a bunch of private planes, but he loans it out to a lot of presidents. I mean, he has 35 countries that he controls in Africa. Very humble guy. You never know he's that wealthy. But now him and I are friends from just that introduction. We're doing some business together. And then he said, listen, there's this young kid that you need to meet. He's here, and now we're working all together doing stuff.
Yeah, and based on what you just said now, he said this young kid. So a lot of people can on a normal day would say, oh, this young boy, what does he have to offer? Cut him off. But he didn't do that. So we just, like you said, reach down. You don't just grow and go up. You need to reach down and pull other people up. And that's what that person did through you. It's today's session has just been mind-blowing, inspiring, amazing. Thank you. Like we can go on and on and on, but I know that a lot of people have where they want to go to. We have the recording already, so it's going to be something interesting for us to watch over and over again. Human relationship is key. having the right friends, the right connections, staying humble, having integrity, having a good looping in strategy, investing appropriately, all these things. Thank you. Thank you so much. Wow. So amazing. Thank you. So glad you came to us today. We look forward to having you again. Thank you. Thank you. So we have come to the end of today's session. Guys, remember we have another session next week. So please be good enough to join in. I'm sure you enjoyed yourself today. Mr. Douglas, we're so glad you came to us. Thank you. Thank you for blessing us with your knowledge and with your presence. And we're going to follow you up on Instagram so that we can tap into your unending resources and your wealth of financial knowledge. Thank you. Do have a great day. Thank you. So, do you have any final words to leave us with?
No, that's it. So on Instagram, make sure you can follow me on IG, and make sure you, when you go on there, hit follow and just put a message on my DM. Let me know where we met, so I could put you in the right link on IG so that we have that connection. And also be on the call this Sunday. It's gonna be, I think, 7 p.m. Nigerian time, but 4 p.m. or like 2 p.m. my time here. So it's 5 hours different. So be on there. I'm gonna have some experts on there as well, just sharing some knowledge that will benefit you and help you scale your business. And especially if you want to do business in other parts of the country, there's a lot of opportunities now, especially in the social media world. You could reach so many people just for social media. So I'm going to give you places that you need to be looking for and places to log into. All you need is just your internet. And a lot of you have so much talent that's been looked for in other countries. Like some of the people that work for me are in Nigeria. My video editor is in Nigeria. Is in Kenya. My copyright writer is in Nigeria, and my IT person that does all my bookings they're in Nigeria. So they're in Nigeria earning US dollars. And that's some.
Yeah.
I'll give you the
Guys,
best.
please, everybody, give it up for Mr. Douglas. No, we have to show him some business connect fellowship kind of love. Everybody, comment section, throw in some fire, hugs, clap, everything. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Will. Over to you.
Oh wow, wow. That was powerful, guys. Let's celebrate Mr. Douglas. Let's celebrate him. I actually look forward. I was anticipating such a mind-blowing session with him. I've been following him on Instagram before now, so I know what he can do. Thank you so much, sir, for
Thank you very much.
honoring us tonight. So, guys, like he said, the power of it is very important that you pay attention to the power of collaboration. There's something that happened. I'm currently in to buttress that point. I'm currently in Cross River State, and I came here on a business trip, and something happened. There is someone that has been following me from Cross River for a very long time, even way back. The lady has been following my content and everything. So when I came in, she requested that she wanted to see me and seek for some business advice. Unfortunately, I gave her the role. We met somewhere, and she came and she was proposing that she wanted to start up a business. And in between trying to help her in packaging the business, and I know that business is going to be profitable because what she was proposing is something that is not really on this part of the country. So looking at her business proposal and everything, I knew the business is going to be successful. And me myself, I was going to ask if I was going to partner in the business, but being that someone that is a coach or something, you will not just ask such questions. Trust me, before she left, she was pleading that I partner in that business. You understand? She was pleading, practically pleading that she want me to partner. And this comes to show how you put yourself out. Just like he said, you need to position yourself in a way that opportunities come to you. Put yourself out there. Don't just be that business person that is just doing your business lackadaisically. You need to be sure. Let people see the kind of value that you can provide. If they can see that, trust me, opportunities will always meet you. So that's about it for tonight. Thank you, Mr. Douglas. We really appreciate it. So we go to the next person. Someone is supposed to take up the announcement. Victoria, I don't know if she's there. Is Victoria here? Please go ahead with the announcement. Okay, she's not here. Let me quickly take the announcement. So this event continues next Thursday. Please try as much as possible to invite people. Invite people. See, I'm a big believer of spreading the gospel. This is a gospel. Whatever we are doing here, we are as well spreading the gospel. We are trying to help other businesses to grow. So be part of this vision. Help other people see the value that we are providing here. Today, I have a guest that came here all the way from Uyo. I met the guy in Uyo and we connected. And today he's in this event. So try as much as possible, use any avenue that you can to invite people to join the event. It continues next Thursday. Next Thursday, we're going to be having a very powerful person come speak to us. And we look forward to that. Spread the gospel, spread the news, and see you next Thursday. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Have a wonderful night rest.